Wow. Tucker Carlson, he just showed them who's boss, guys. I want you guys to check this out. This is a snippet from this man's moving speech at the Republican National Convention. Take a listen.
I watched the video of what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania about 50 times. I think I was one of about 8 billion people around the world who watched it. And the more I watched it, the more it struck me that everything was different after that moment. Everything. And this convention is different. The nation is different. The world is different. Donald Trump is different. When he stood up after being shot in the face, bloodied, and put his hand up, I thought at that moment, that was a transformation. This was no longer a man. Well, I think it was divine intervention. But the effect that it had on Donald Trump, he was no longer just a political party's nominee or a former president or a future president. This was the leader of a nation. And I think there's a difference. I've spent most of my life in Washington where the president is at the top of the pyramid, everyone wants to be the president. But if you think about it, the presidency comes with great power, obviously. But if you think about it, that is a title that is bestowed by a process of some sort that can be subverted. And in the end, it does not confer by itself, as no title does, legitimacy. Just because you call yourself the president doesn't mean that much inherently. I can call my dog the CEO of Hewlett Packard. It doesn't mean she is. It's true. And you hate to say it, but it is also true, as a fact, that you could take, a mannequin, a dead person, and make him president.
Well, everything is different, all right, guys, and not just for former President Donald Trump, mind you. Tucker Carlson, he made a primetime return to Fox News with his speech at the Republican National Convention, but the ex-host was nowhere to be seen on his old homes of CNN and MSNBC. And I especially like what Tucker Carlson said here, guys. God is among us right now, and he thinks that's enough. And honestly, I'm inclined to agree. Tucker Carlson's Fox News company time slot replacement, Jesse Waters, commented when the less than 15-minute speech was over that was Tucker Carlson. You may remember him from the 8 o'clock hour here, and the American people definitely do. On a night that saw UFC boss Dana White, Hulk Hogan, and Kid Rock before the GOP faithful as warm-ups for Donald Trump, the BBC also ran Tucker Carlson's time at the lectern. And boy, did Tucker Carlson steal the show away from Trump, or I should say before Trump. And you know how I know this? Well, it's because CNN and MSNBC, they didn't spend 1 second on Tucker Carlson's speech. In fact, Carlson lauded as the ex-president as the bravest man before Donald Trump accepted the Republican nomination before the presidential race. But Carlson also commented, and in fact, he actually condemned the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, saying that when he stood up after being shot in the face, bloodied, and put his hand up, he thought at that moment that was a transformation. He went on to say that Donald Trump was no longer a man, but a divine intervention. And as Tucker Carlson said, the effect that it had on Donald Trump, he was no longer just a political party's nominee or a former president or a future president. This was the leader of a nation. Donald Trump's granddaughter, Kai, also spoke about her grandfather and the terrible assassination attempt against him. Here, I want you guys to check this out.
Been shot. And I just wanted to know if he was okay. It was heartbreaking that someone would do that to another person. A lot of people have put my grandpa through hell, and he's still standing. Grandpa, you are such an inspiration, and I love you. The media makes my grandpa seem like a different person, but I know him for who he is. He's very caring and loving. He truly wants the best for this country, and he will fight every single day to make America great again.
Well, guys, Carlson said a leader cannot be named. A person has to prove it, like how Donald Trump did in the moment that he stood up after being shot. The two spoke after the shooting, and according to Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump humbly did not speak about himself on the call. Like the former Fox News host said, something bigger is going on here. and he's starting to think that it's going to be okay. Tucker Carlson also commended how rather than calling for anger and division, Donald Trump has called for unity throughout the nation ever since this shooting. As a matter of fact, I want you guys to check this out.
He turned down the most obvious opportunity in politics to inflame the nation after being shot. To inflame the nation, which is an opportunity that almost every other politician I've ever met, and certainly his opponents, would have taken instantly. And they would have said, well, what is this? How did he get shot? Like, how did this happen? And those are real questions that we have to get to the bottom of. But in the moments, the days, the week after the shooting, he did not say that.
So many people say, and let's go back just a second. Like Tucker Carlson actually said in that brief sharing that I provided you guys, a leader is the bravest man, right? A leader's courage gives courage to his people. And he did his best to bring the country together. And I think that's what we saw, guys. I think that's what we saw. Many people say that Tucker Carlson is playing a major role here in the Donald Trump campaign, maybe even the Trump presidency. Axios did confirm that Carlson, together with Tesla billionaire Elon Musk and venture capitalist David Sachs, personally lobbied Donald Trump to select J.D. Vance as his running mate. So yeah, how many of you guys want Tucker Carlson to come out of a private life and work for the Trump administration in some capacity? What do y'all think about that? Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson working together? Maybe Donald Trump getting Tucker Carlson into his presidential cabinet somehow? Let me know if y'all think that that would be a good idea. How about Tucker Carlson for press secretary in the new Trump administration? What do you think about that? So anyway, so this is the kind of thing that we're going to be getting into in today's video. By the way, if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video. Totally appreciate you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. But it was kind of like a hero's homecoming for former Fox News host Tucker Carlson at the Republican National Convention, let alone Donald Trump. I mean, like, he used to be the Fox News primetime lineup guy, but, you know, he really caught everybody's attention when he took the stage on last night, actually a couple nights ago during the Republican National Convention, even though he previously said some pretty harsh things about Donald Trump. Like, he hates him passionately. Carlson was also, you know, he was all praise during the speech, ultimately calling Donald Trump the bravest man as he accepted the Republican National nomination. But this praise came just days after a serious incident where Donald Trump was shot at a rally, sustaining a serious ear injury, while others were seriously hurt and one person died, unfortunately. Now, despite the chaos that took place that day, Donald Trump managed to stand strong and encourage the crowd to keep fighting. Carlson condemned the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, said that when he stood up after being shot in the face, bloodied, and put his hand up, he thought at that moment that was a transformation. In fact, Carlson seemed truly moved by Donald Trump's resilience, describing this as a moment of divine intervention that transformed Donald Trump literally from just another politician to the leader of a nation, which really got the crowd fired up, guys. I mean, he wrapped up by saying that he thinks that's enough. God is among us right now, highlighting the deep impact of the event. Tucker Carlson also essentially talked about what it really means to be a leader, suggesting it's something innate, not just a title. He also hinted at election rigging in two brief remarks about 2020 during his convention speech. Now, after his talk, which lasted a little bit less than 15 minutes, Jesse Waters, who's been filling in for Tucker Carlson at Fox News, he gave a playful nod to Tucker Carlson's return, saying that that was Tucker Carlson. You may remember him from the 8 o'clock hour here. And true enough, the man did prove why he brought in the ratings for such a primetime slot on TV. Now, as my uncle said, that's our patriot, Tucker Carlson. But again, guys, if you guys haven't already, if you appreciate the content, definitely hit the like button for the video. Totally appreciate you guys. But on the final day of the convention, Republicans lined up a star-studded finale centered around former President Donald Trump's iconic mantra, "Make America Great Again." Donald Trump delivered what they called the marquee address at the end of the night that he basically teased as a unifying message for the nation in the wake of the failed assassination attempt against him. He said he had all prepared, you know, an extremely tough speech, really good, all about the corrupt, horrible administration, but he threw it away. Instead, our former commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, said that he wants to try to unite our country. Now, before Donald Trump took the stage, the RNC was pretty much flexing its muscles with some conservative heavy hitters, both in the literal and in the figurative sense. This includes speeches from the WWE legend Hulk Hogan, Eric Trump, Ultimate Fighting Championship CEO Dana White, just before Donald Trump. And of course, let's not forget about the conservative pundit Tucker Carlson. Now, Carlson made a very interesting point about leadership. He said that You can't just claim the title of a leader. You have to earn it, much like Donald Trump did when he got right back up after being shot. And so Tucker Carlson, he pretty much shared that they had a call afterward, and Donald Trump humbly did not speak about himself on the call, which Carlson found pretty telling. He even mentioned something bigger is going on here, and he's feeling a little bit more hopeful after their conversation. He was all about bringing people together. As Tucker Carlson said, a leader is the bravest man. A leader's courage inspires everyone around him. He really tried to pull the country together. Now, Tucker Carlson, who used to run the show Carlson Tonight on Fox News until 2023, ended up being let go by Rupert Murdoch of Fox Corporation. And interestingly enough, there was this really awkward moment when he nearly bumped into Rupert Murdoch at the hotel at the Republican National Convention. So journalist Jake Sherman shared a photo saying Tucker Carlson walking into the Trade Hotel next to the convention arena. Rupert Murdoch, just feet away from Tucker Carlson on the right, was immediately surrounded by his entourage, according to a witness. Tucker walked by with a smile, according to the witness. Apparently, he didn't miss working for that company. But anyway, his departure happened right around the time that Fox News settled a massive lawsuit for nearly $800 million dealing with the false claims that after the 2020 election. Turns out some of Tucker Carlson's texts were crucial to the case, putting him in the hot seat as the fall guy, the scapegoat, if you will, for Rupert Murdoch's company. Now, Tucker Carlson, he got a new gig on X, formerly Twitter. Tucker said he's not shying away from sharing some far-right ideas and dabbling in conspiracy theories about things like COVID-19 and the January 6th Capitol riots. But let's not forget, Tucker Carlson also, alongside with Tesla billionaire Elon Musk and venture capitalist David Sachs, personally lobbied Donald Trump to select J.D. Vance as his running mate. Now, according to CNN, Vance had the backing of Tucker Carlson, who thought he would appeal to working class voters. Meanwhile, Tucker Carlson's former Fox News boss, Rupert Murdoch, lobbied Donald Trump to choose Burgum. Well, I think we found out who had Donald Trump's ear at the moment. And what some people may not know, Tucker Carlson wasn't just a one-off speaker at this year's Republican National Convention. In fact, he kicked off things with a lot of talk at the Heritage Foundation. This was a days-long policy event where he didn't hold back and criticize politics on both sides of the aisle. He also gave a shout out to Donald Trump for choosing Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his vice presidential nominee, calling him one of the only members in Washington that's close to his wife. Now, during this talk, Tucker Carlson didn't mince words about what he sees as the forces of chaos and destruction, which he says are fundamentally anti-human, which are against people like the Biden administration, advocates of the artificial intelligence and supporters of transhumanism. In his Thursday night speech, he underlined the job of a president is instead a duty to his citizens. He also mentioned when Antifa came to his house, Trump told Carlson's wife he personally would stand duty and protect them. Carlson said Trump seems to be the only one who thinks that way, and the former Fox News host called that democracy. Wow. But this is just such a powerful insight into the dynamics of the Republican National Convention. I mean, it just kind of goes to show Tucker Carlson's deep impact on the narrative. I mean, you know what I mean? Now, I think it's your turn, guys. I want you guys to weigh in on this. Do you think Tucker Carlson deserves a spot on Donald Trump's administration, maybe even a cabinet position? Hit me up in the comments down below. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And again, if you haven't already, hit the like button, please consider doing so. Also consider subscribing to the channel. Totally appreciate you guys. Thank you for rocking with me, and I will see you on the next one.